Welcome back to Backroom Convos. I'm yours truly, Lesego M, the report aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like a Cairo. It's another episode 167. And before we start this show, I'd like to apologize for this reason. So I know episode 166 was deleted from all our DSPs, which is your Spotify, your Apple Podcast, your YouTube, or wherever you listen to this, podcast or episodes from this podcast. I know episode 166 was deleted simply because if you were listening to the background music of that particular episode, you'd hear Guti. There was a lot of music that was released. I think the song that was playing, I believe it was a song by Demtuda Morena, if I'm not mistaken. Amazing song. So that song, so we got a copyright strike, and the episode unfortunately is down. So I'm trying by all means to try and bring that up, to bring the episode up, to remove the music that wasn't supposed to be even there to start with. I was just testing the waters. As you've heard from that particular episode, Guti, we were very experimental as far as how everything sounds, the gaps in between. We are no longer doing like the longer versions of episodes without breaks in between. So we've introduced something, we've introduced a timeout in between every, topic that we speak about in this episode, in all the episodes that are coming up, basically. So that's why we introduced that. So you'd hear, if you were one of the first people that listened to, the episode 166, you'd tell Uguti that episode was different in a lot of on a lot of levels. Yeah, in or on. Yeah, I think it's on a lot of levels. It is very different simply because of how the layout was designed. I think it was designed using the radio guidelines, which you speak for a certain time. We have ads in between. There's music there. There's jingles. We tried to sweeten it up for you. Because I know sometimes you listen to an episode, a particular episode. It doesn't have to be that of this podcast, of or rather this this podcast. Yeah, so you'd find Uguti, people speak for hours on end without even having to have breaks in between. And I realize Uguti, the attention span for people is very low. You know, Someone might pay attention for like 30 seconds, and that's all they needed to hear from this particular podcast. Because I've already got a glimpse of what he might talk about or what he's going to talk about. So they don't need to hear the entire thingy, because sometimes what I realize, Uti, you go back and forth with you go back and forth with yourself, because you're literally dissecting all these topics that you have on hand, and you busy going back and forth. So for someone who's listening, they're like, bro, like, you have to keep it moving, you know so it's not like it's a dialogue. There's someone in studio. You guys are basically exchanging with you. This is my view, and A, B, and C, and the other person says I also have this, or this is the view that I share on this particular matter. So I think to break it in between, and bring you back after maybe 5 minutes, and we touch where we left off, and we introduce something new. 5 minutes, we take another short break. We touch on what we spoke about, then we move right along. I felt like I needed to keep implementing that to see if it works. So it was only on one episode, I believe, that we did that. So I want to do that more often. I feel like it makes more sense for me to do that and listen to a couple of those episodes and be like, yeah, I think this is what I want to hear when I listen to radio. Because not even radio, but a podcast, to hear those in betweens, hear something refreshing, the ad, even if it's not a paid ad, but an ad in between, just to break that thingy. just to break it and come back, and keep people interested. Like I think the format as well, it was following the format. Yeah, I always speak about the movie script, or how the construction of a perfect book, or like how what a perfect book embodies, or what a perfect album embodies. Like there's a certain guidelines that they follow, and I felt like it's also necessary to implement that, but in the aspect of like follow that particular format, but implement it in podcasting, you know, basically testing out the waters. So when we come back, I'd like for us to speak a bit about DJ Jaivane. I know a lot has been happening on the internet. I've seen some videos from youngster resurface from Simnandi record. For those of you who don't know, Youngstana was at some point a part of the stable called Simnandi record, which is founded by the great DJ Jaivani. So like I want us to touch on that when we come back after the break. And please do not touch that dial. If you haven't followed us or subscribed, please do so. I'm yours truly, Lesego M, the report, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me daddy like a Cairo. Let's meet after the break. Welcome back to Backroom Convos. I'm yours truly, Lesego M, the report, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me daddy like a Cairo. Another exciting episode, right, of Backroom Convos. I appreciate you and everyone who always listens to, the platform, seeing me grow or listening to me grow in radio or in broadcasting as a whole. It's been a journey for me, and I appreciate people who always come back and support or give pointers with, oh, I feel like you could do this, or let's say, oh, you talk too much, or you need to talk less, maybe add some music there and there. Oh, the sound is too loud, the music is too loud. I really like and I appreciate that input, because that's what makes a perfect podcast. you know that your input is very important. So I think maybe let's speak about DJ Jaivani. I think I saw a couple of feeds on my feed, TikTok feed. Slenda, the vocalist, I believe is the name of the artist. Amazing artist. I've heard, I believe, some of his songs in my sets, not knowing. Obviously, I was not paying attention to the name, but it's Slenda, the vocalist, because it's like Jaivani. You're like, oh, the association of Jaivani and the artist. And if you have the rapport of what DJ Jaivani has done before, you'd know with every Jaivani song slaps. So like I downloaded a couple of songs from DJ Jaivani, and it happens to feature some of the artists that I spoke about, which is Young Stana and Slender the vocalist. Slender the vocalist was on a live, or released a video rather. I think a record L Jones was a part of that video at some point. They were saying Guti, they were being ripped off by DJ Jaivani for the projects that they released with them together. And I believe that the song that at some point, the song that they were referring to, they were saying Guti, the song currently is sitting on 7 million streams. I think this is on Spotify. I think they did highlight it, it's on Spotify. They were not sure as to where the stats are as far as other DSPs, but they were very sure that on Spotify it was above, north of 7 million streams. That's one song that record LJ Jones was referring to. I think Slenda, the vocalist, was also speaking on that. We we've been ripped by DJ Jaivan. We've spoke to him. He's been referring us to, I think, Tabango Tumelo, if I'm not mistaken, being the guy who handles the finances for Simnandi Records. He was like, yeah, bro, like I do get you. I think I saw a text between uh, Record L Jones with DJ Jaivani, and he was saying, yo, bro, like I'm still waiting on that money that you promised to send through, or the royalties for the project that we did together. I still haven't received anything. What's the problem? Talk to me, So DJ Jaivane was like, yeah, just go ahead and speak to, Tabang, I believe. Tabang, is it Tabang or Tumelo, if I'm not mistaken? Speak to him. I think he'll sort you out. Something along those lines. And, they posted all the content, the conversations, the exchanges between them and DJ Jaivane. And DJ Jaivane referring them to the finance guy, the guy who handles the finances for Simnandi Records. I also happened to see a young stunner clip on the very same platform, TikTok, and he was also speaking about, the industry as a whole and the struggles that he faced when he was about to exit Simnandi Records. It was never easy, the transition to move from Simnandi to, Kabza. I don't remember, is it a piano hub? Ne? The transition was not easy, you know, because he was signed to Simnandi at some point, and all the mixtape that they did, the projects that they did with DJ Jaivane. Lim Crazy was also a part of Simnandi Records. The music that they did, I think even Unto was a part of Simnandi Records, or they collaborated with the guys at Simnandi Records. The guy who's most hated was Scott Mapuma. At some point he collaborated with DJ Jaivane and the guys at the stable say Simnandi Records. So a lot has been happening, and I do have a lot to say about that. But I'm just happy with it. In as much as it didn't get them much, but they got something out of it. I saw a clip where they were hanging out with DJ Jaivane, and DJ Jaivane bought them lunch, and they were hanging. And a lot of people were surprised by the mannerism or the response from DJ Jaivane. Like, how do you speak about that when someone helped you? Like balapile. And I saw some comments, why do you treat them like balapile? Why don't you give them royalties instead of money? Or like, there was just a lot of mixed feelings or mixed emotions from people from the video that DJ Jaivane posted. So for those of you who don't know, DJ Jaivane is about to release an album, I believe, tonight, as he released a couple of projects. The name of the album is called Onkgopotse. The name amazing. It happens to also be my nephew's name, Onkgopotse. So he's about to release the album called Onkgopotse. And before he did that, always when artists are about to drop an album or drop an LP, they release, the lead single. So he did release a song called Onkgopotse. He released Izinto za izinto zakho izinto zakhona. Yeah, he released izinto zakhona. He released also Onkgopotse, the single. He released those two songs as a single to give you a preview of what the album is all about. you know so yeah, man, do let me know what you think about today's episode, man. I'm yours truly, Lesego M, the report, aka Shoot Your Shot. And maybe you might get a chance to call me daddy like a Cairo. So yeah, man, Metro booming amongst other people. I want us to speak about him before we conclude on the episode. Metro Boomin is about to drop an album. Um, Mariah, the scientist, featuring Kali Uchi, Kali Uchi, two words, not one word. They're about to also release a project tonight. Amongst other artists that are about to drop, I know there's a feature that's about to drop also, which features Playboy Carti, amazing. And I know that we don't have a lot of time left, but I'd like to also touch on the fact that tsunami. I don't think we've really experienced tsunami in South Africa. Besides that, the one that we see on TV. So this is the idea of what a tsunami is. And thanks to all these social media platforms, we can see it happening from other countries. Oh, okay, this is what a tsunami looks like. So in a couple of days, I think Japan was hit by a tsunami which had about 8.8 mega, which was followed by an 8.8. Uh, is it magnitude? Is it what they call it? Magnitude. Yeah, it was hit by a tsunami, which was followed by an 8.8 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Russia, from the coast of Russia. So yeah, man. I'm not an expert. I've did geography at some points, but I'm a bit crusty, so I'm not sure. Guti, is it magnitude magnitude. Oh, so it's not magnitude, it's magnitude. So 8.8 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Russia. It hit Japan. So, amongst other things, I even saw a guy who was swimming at some point there. You know, the moments before the earthquake, actually, not the earthquake, moments before the tsunami hit, that guy was just randomly swimming there in the ocean. And I'm like, yo, these guys, they really take chances. So, yeah, man, do let me know which is the album or the project that you're excited to listen to, some of the music that's coming out. Which project are you keen on hearing? Are you excited about DJ Jaivane's new album called Onkgopotse? Do let me know. Do you feel like the artists were fairly compensated, or do you feel like DJ Jaivane was just selfish and greedy, by not even giving them credit on the work that they did? Do let me know, man. I'm yours truly, Lesego M, aka Shoot Your Shot. And maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like a Cairo. Please, again, do not forget to follow, like, and subscribe to get a notification for each and every time we drop a new episode. Enjoy this one. It's episode 167. Do enjoy it and have a good night. Cheers.